Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Dr. Tamar. Shall I try and say your last name?
Sure.
Shtrambrand.
Yeah. Good job.
I tried. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can you tell us where in the world are you tuning in from?
I live in Rockland County, New York. It's just north of New York City, about 40 miles.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. Do you guys get winter there too?
Oh, yeah. Cold with snow and all the things I don't like.
Ooh, yeah, we get those here too. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
So, Dr. Tamar, what is it that you do and how do you do it? Tell us your story.
Sure. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. Right now, I'm only licensed in the state of New York. And I have my own private practice. I was working in a psychiatric hospital, the state psychiatric hospital in my county, and I was there for 2 years. Before that, I was in community mental health for 6 years. But I decided to go off on my own, and I've been since the end of April. I've been basically building a private practice. Right now, I do virtual mostly. I don't really do anything in the home. I do bariatric assessments.
Mhm.
I do psychotherapy, and I also just started doing autism diagnostic assessments for as an independent contractor for a company that operates in the Bronx and Brooklyn.
Oh, wow. You've been busy.
Yes, and I have more projects I'm working on.
Wow. I love that. You must love to learn.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. So, what would you say got you into the line of work that you are currently doing right now?
So when I was a kid, I always thought I was going to be a medical doctor. And we think when we're kids that we really, really know what we want to do for the rest of our life, day in, day out for a living, but we don't. And when I got into college, I realized that's not for me. So, so I actually decided to go into occupational therapy, and I got a bachelor's degree. Back then, you could do it with a bachelor's degree. Now you have to get a doctorate. And I graduated at the ripe old age of 22 from Stony Brook University with an OT bachelor's degree, and I practiced for 20 years. And I worked in schools mostly with children with special needs, with autism, spectrum disorders, but I also work with some adults in nursing homes and clinics. And I liked it, and I did it for about 20 years, but I just didn't feel like it was what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I think most people are feeling that nowadays. We're all searching for meaning. And my spouse, who I'm married to for about 20 years, who knows me better than I know myself, recommended I go back to school and become a psychologist. He thought that I would be very good at it, and he was right. I graduated at the age of 40 with my PhD, and I've been practicing for the last since 2018, and I really love it.
Wow, that's really cool. That's incredible. I love that your spouse empowered you to do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
yeah.
amazing. So you're a psychiatrist or you've worked in the hospital with kids, or is it just adults, or are you still doing it right now?
I'm not a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is a MD. I'm not a medical doctor. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. I can't prescribe
Psychologist.
medicine. I have a PhD.
Oh,
Whatever. All it just means is that I do therapy mostly, and I can't prescribe, and I can do assessment, which is something that people with a social work degree can't do. Diagnostic assessment for psychological disorders. So
mhm.
that's basically it. There's so many places that psychologists can work. They can work in schools. They can work have their own clinics. Now you could do virtual, which is what a lot of people are doing,
Yeah.
and which is what I do. Um, there's just so many settings that we can work in. It's really, really great.
That's really cool. I've had many psychologists over the years, and I remember when the most recent one I saw, she was helping me with anxiety because when I go out, my anxiety gets so bad. She was giving me certain tools to work on. Yeah, it's definitely different from different branches of doctors, but I think it's really, really crucial to have in many different areas and communities as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a critical need for it now, especially since COVID,
Oh,
because of
yeah. Yeah.
trauma that
Yeah.
COVID caused pretty much everybody that was in existence in the world.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I love that you bring that up because I don't think we talk about that enough, the aftermath of COVID, because some people are still feeling it. I'm pretty sure people are still getting sick, even though it's not all over the news. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Walk me through how you play with the mind and how you help people. How do you do
um,
your assessments?
so you're talking about therapy or psychological assessments?
Psychological. I love the
Psychological,
mind.
the
I see
testing?
test.
You mean
Yeah, yeah.
well, testing is a little different than psychotherapy. So psycho the way I do assessments at the moment, formalized testing is it's specifically focused right now for the autism population.
Mm.
I work for a company called Autism Care Partners, and basically I have an initial intake with them, with the parents of these children and young adults, virtually, and I do basically I get their um, the history of what happened in school, their medical history, and any kind of trauma they've been through, any kind of developmental difficulties they may have had, and that's the initial portion. And then within a month, we schedule an in-person diagnostic assessment where I meet them in a clinic in the Bronx, pretty typically, and I have standardized testing tools that I work with. Basically, the ADOS-2 is the ADOS. It's the Autism Diagnostic System,
Oh,
is the one I use the most, but I also give them some surveys and questionnaires to fill out, and I do a little bit more interviewing, and sometimes I just sit with them and talk with them, or just if it's a small child, I'll let them play and watch them play. So it's a lot of structured, but it's also a little bit of unstructured as well.
mm.
And then I write up the report, and then a few weeks later, we have a final virtual meeting where I just give them the results of the report. That's
Oh,
pretty
okay, okay.
much how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Do you think there's enough support within the line of work that you're doing? I know it's different in the States than Canada, but what would you like to see different to happen within, whether it's leaders or communities or government for you, where you are?
Well, reimbursement is a start. I mean, we do have to earn a living, and we do, and it's becoming, unfortunately, more and more common for therapists, especially psychologists, to not accept medical insurance.
Mm.
And a lot of psychologists charge $250, $300 and up. And that leaves a lot of people unable to access good mental health care with good clinicians, because good clinicians are going to want to charge a lot of money. And it's understandable. I put years and years into it, into the training. But it's kind of making the profession become very, very specialized and almost like elitist in a way. I hate saying that. I do accept insurance. I've been discouraged from doing it by people, but I said, but we did go into this to try to help people. We do have to make a living. We don't have to become millionaires.
Yeah.
So right now I'm one of few that does really accept insurance.
Mhm.
And so I would like to see more of that. I'd also like to see psychologists, that training for us to specialize to become more affordable. For
Mm.
example, there's a big need for, obviously, for training in ADHD and autism. Right now, I'm taking a course to be able to provide workshops, educational workshops in schools to teachers, because I love to speak and I love to teach. And I would like to do something a little bit more than just psychotherapy and assessments, because that you do burn out from that.
Yeah.
But this coursework costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money. And I understand that people that develop the coursework deserve to be paid, but there should be more grants that are easily accessible to mental health clinicians that want to, do public education, because we're not going to fix kids just through individual psychotherapy. We need to educate parents. We need to educate teachers. We need to educate professionals working in other disciplines like medicine and pharmacology and education,
Mhm.
to work with children and adults so that we can help them heal. Can't, and, a therapist can't fix everybody. A therapist can provide some guidance and help,
Mhm.
but we need to extend our skills on a broader scale to the public, because if we're ever going to get past the damage that wars and COVID has done, we need to expand our thinking
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how we do things.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing. I love that you mentioned educating parents because kids don't come with manuals.
No, they do
And
not.
it's very easy to beat ourselves up as parents. Uh, some may think they're doing something wrong, they're not doing enough, especially when they have children that have special needs. What would you say to parents like that? And is that something you've encountered within what you do?
Yes,
Mm.
yes. A lot. I don't do play therapy.
Mhm.
I know I've been gotten a lot of requests for play therapy, but I feel it's more important if I do work with children. I've kind of shifted my role to be more of a parent educator, because the truth of the matter is you're there once a week if you're lucky with the kid. That's not going to fix the kid. What's going to help the child is educating parents on how to communicate with the child, and how to play with the child, and how to really know how to develop the child through to develop the child's mental health, basically through basic parenting skills that there's no there's no manual for. No child comes with an instruction manual, obviously, when they're born,
Mhm.
but there are techniques that you can teach parents, and also to help facilitate the parents' mental health as well. Because if the parent is struggling with a mental illness, it's going to trickle down on the child.
Mm.
So I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more of a focus, instead of just like, let's fix the kids through play therapy once a week, which makes it takes the power away and responsibility away from the parent. Let's educate parents and support them and help them so that they can build their children up.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. And you touch on if the parents have mental illness. I do. I have mental health diagnosis and I'm parenting. It can be challenging. I have ups and downs, highs and lows, and unexpected turns. And I'm trying to give myself more grace. And I hope people can do that more for themselves because I think we're human. We're only human. We got to learn. And sometimes the lessons are not always easy to learn. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think of ourselves as spiritual beings having a human experience. When you do it that way, when you think of it that way, it it allows you to feel like you have purpose, you have meaning, and also that you're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed
Oh,
to be learning
yeah.
and growing.
Yeah. I agree.
And raising children, whether you do or don't have a mental illness, is hard either way.
If you don't, you will.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to us a bit more about mental health. Okay. What is the difference between mental health and mental illness? Because I think we confuse those two.
Yeah. So I'll start with mental illness. That makes it easier. Mental illness is just a cluster of symptoms that fit into a certain category that we call the DSM-5, which is it's the gold standard um, manual that's used by mental health clinicians as well as psychiatrists, nurses, doctors, to figure out what the symptoms a person is having, kind
Mhm.
of represent and stick it into a diagnosis. We need to do that to get reimbursed, and also to have I guess a direction of how we treat.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's mental illness. Mental health is something that is an ongoing process for everybody. Everybody.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, everybody has a mental health or mental illness problem. Everybody really does, because, when you think about it, we all have struggles. It's just that some people do have a chemical imbalance in their brain that medication can help. And also they may have grown up with parents that were traumatized and passed down the trauma from generation to generation.
Mhm.
So, they qualify for a diagnosis. But basically, mental health is the state of your mind and how well you're balancing
Mhm.
all of the balls in your life, and juggling all your responsibilities and functioning
Mhm.
emotionally
Yeah.
and the ability and how that's showing up for everything day by day. So mental health is just how it looks, and mental illness is what's going on that's causing it to break down,
Mm.
that we can explain.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, how can we as people help each other? Because there's so much stigma. I've openly shared my experience. I mean, it wasn't always that way. There was a time where I was so ashamed of sharing it because of judgments of what society have said. But how can we do that? How can we heal without judgments and breaking down the stigma and barriers of mental health?
It breaks down to one common theme. And I keep talking about it with people, my own family. We need to withhold judgment and stop prejudging others and ourselves too. But first, let's start with other people and stop thinking that you know why they're behaving the way they're behaving or what's going on in their life is going on the way it's going on, because we're usually wrong. And what happens when we prejudge, we then treat that person and interact with that person in a way that reflects our judgment, and it hurts the other person, and it often causes more damage. It causes lack of trust. It has a whole spiral effect.
Yeah.
That's what the word that I would use to call it. If we would just withhold judgment and look at the person in front of us and stop trying to figure out why they're reacting the way they're reacting, or why things are happening in their life the way that it's happening, and just be present and kind, we would see more improvement in our own lives and the lives of other people.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to share that we didn't get to talk about yet?
Not that I can think of.
What are you up to over there? Do you have some projects? You mentioned a course, correct?
I am in the middle of taking a course. It's from an organization called PTS Coaching that I'm very, very happy to advocate for. It's run. It was started by an educator named Cindy Goldrich,
Mm.
and she has a course for people to become parent coaches. That's not the one I'm currently taking. I'm taking the course for professionals who want to become educators and do workshops in schools and other settings for professionals working with children with ADHD, to teach them how to not only to make adjustments for children with ADHD so that they function better in the classroom, but actually to communicate better with them and to problem solve with them and help them develop skills, because that's what they really need, not accommodations as much as they need skills to be successful with their ADHD in the school setting.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing. So you became a psychologist in your 40s. What would you say to anybody who is looking to finish their studies or go through a different phase in their lives? Because society, there's this time frame when you're supposed to have kids and married, and there's a line that is not specifically realistic. What would you say to people who are currently studying?
I'm going to touch on what you just said because it was so profound. Everybody here has a journey, and we need to stop comparing ourselves to a norm. We need to stop doing that. If going to school in your 40s is what you need to do to become who you are and develop yourself, as long as it's not going to unravel your family system and you have lots of support from an amazing spouse like I did, he had to take a lot on his shoulders, and I don't think he regrets it, but I know that through the process, it was hard for him. You got lots of support, you have financial resources, and it's not going to unravel your family system. That your family has to come first. I say go for it. Better yourself. Become who you are. Discover who you are. Discover what you're meant to do in this world. Discover who you're meant to be. Don't be afraid. Be brave, and also be realistic. It's not going. You're not going to be able to do it full time if you've got 5 little kids, or and a mortgage to pay, and your marriage is falling apart. Prioritize. I did it. It took me 13 years to get my degree. I started when I was 28, and I finished when I was 40.
Yeah.
It's not a race. It's a destination.
Mm. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. I have two questions for you as we wrap up. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Life is finding out who you are
Mm,
and making a mark in this world while you're here.
mm,
It's a soul having a human experience. It's a spiritual experience, whatever spiritual means to you. For some people, it's religion. For some people, it's growth.
mhm,
Figure out what that means to you. But your whole life is about discovering who you are, making meaning of life,
mhm.
and touching others and uplifting and elevating others. That's it. That's it. And that's big.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Thank you for sharing. So where can people find you? Do you have a website? Where on social media are you hanging out at?
I do not have a website yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I've launched my business full time
Mhm,
only recently.
mhm,
However, I am on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page, although it's not a social media oriented page just yet. And I mean, if you want, I can give my email address if people want to get in
mhm.
touch with me.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be putting it in this episode's description for anybody who wants to connect with you to do that.
Great,
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful.
Well, Dr. Tamar, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate what you're doing and the impact that you're making.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure
You're
and an
welcome.
honor.
You're welcome.